Ta-da! Hello kids! How are you doing in the new year? I'm doing pretty good and I'm hoping things to get a lot better this year. And what can be better than starting the new year with a new art lesson? Today, we're gonna do shading with points. We did a pointillism video, we did 2 shading videos, but we never did shading with points. In our previous shading videos, we learned shading by coloring and shading by cross-hatching technique. But this time, we're gonna do our shading with points, and we're gonna have 3 geometrical shapes. These shapes are going to be volumetric. One of them is gonna be a sphere, the other one is going to be a cone shape, and the last one is gonna be the cube. We love cubes because we used cubes in a lot of our lessons. I'm not gonna draw any lines with my black marker today. I'm gonna draw and shade everything with points. But just to make sure that my geometrical shapes look right, I'm gonna sketch them first with my Yabba Dabba yellow marker. Yeah, I can hear you say, "Hey Jeff, what's up with the white glove?" Well, this new paper I got is kinda shiny and it keeps smudging the colors. I don't want to smudge this drawing with my hand, so I put on a white glove. First, I'm gonna draw a sphere, and then I'm gonna draw a cone shape, and then we're gonna draw a perspective cube. And if you don't know how to draw a perspective cube by now, why don't you go and check out my previous lessons, because in those previous videos I already showed you how to draw a perspective cube in detail. But for the newcomers, in short, in order to draw a perspective cube, we first draw 2 squares, a little offset from each other, and then we connect their corners. The main thing about shading that we need to know is that curved surfaces create a transition between light and dark shading. But when we're shading flat surfaces, they're not gonna have any transition. They're just gonna be dark or mid-tone or light. So, which of these geometrical shapes have curved surfaces? I think 2 of them have curved surfaces. One of them is sphere, of course, because sphere is all about curved surfaces. And the other one is the cone shape, because cone shape is not like a pyramid, it has a round, curved surface. Yeah, you're right, the bottom of a cone is a flat surface, but in this kind of drawing, we don't see the bottom of the cone anyways. But when we come to the cube, it has flat surfaces all around it. It doesn't have any curved surface, because cubes are like that. They're just made out of 6 squares. I'm gonna also draw my light source with my red marker. I mean really red marker. And I'm just gonna place the light bulb on the top right corner of my paper, and the light is going to be coming from that direction. So, if the light is coming from top right, our shading is going to happen on the lower left parts of our shapes. Because light and shade, they need to be seen on the opposite parts of our forms. After we're done drawing our shapes with the yellow marker, I'm just gonna grab my big black marker and I'm gonna start putting the points. First, I'm gonna draw the outlines, but don't be fooled. These are not gonna be lines, I'm just gonna draw lines with points. Because if we put a lot of points right next to each other, they're gonna form a line. And then I'm gonna start shading with points, and I'm gonna try to understand which parts of my geometrical shapes are not facing toward the light, but on the contrary, facing away from the light, and I'm gonna put a lot of black dots on those parts. The upper right parts of my geometrical shapes, I'm gonna barely put points there, because I want those parts to be very light. I'm just gonna put a few points over those parts, maybe even less. And for the curved surfaces, I mean the sphere and the cone, I'm gonna try to create a smooth transition from the darkest part of the shape to the lightest part. And the smoother this transition turns out, the better my shading will look. If you watch carefully, you're gonna realize that the shaded part of my sphere looks almost like a crescent moon. So you can actually keep this information in your mind for your future drawings, kids. The shape of the shaded parts of a sphere will always look like the moon, but the crescent moon, not the full moon. If you look carefully to our cone, the shapes of the shaded parts of our cone looks like triangles. You can keep that in mind too. In the future, when you're gonna be shading a cone shape, try to make the shape of your shaded areas look like a triangle. And never forget to make the transition from light to dark, because that's how we're gonna understand it's a curved surface. And the last thing you need to keep in mind for shading a cube, one side is gonna be really dark, one side is gonna be kind of light, and one side is gonna be totally white. And all of those sides will have no transition. They're gonna be evenly shaded. I mean, if it's dark, it's gonna be dark all the way, all around. So it's time to wrap this lesson up and let's see what we've learned. When we have curved surfaces, we're gonna have a smooth transition from dark to light shading. When we have flat surfaces, angular surfaces, all of those surfaces are gonna be shaded evenly. There's not gonna be any transition from light to dark. When we shade a sphere, the dark parts look like the moon. When we're shading a cone shape, the shaded part will look like a triangle. And that's all for today, folks. I hope you liked this lesson and hope to see you in the next one. Just remember, kids, shading with points takes a little bit of time. So be patient, try not to rush, and don't forget to have fun.